All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Oh! This is the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego de Souza.
That was the loudest shit that's ever occurred in my ear.
Well, you don't like
Christ.
me to say I'm excited,
You're like,
so
welcome.
I
It's like
express
a punch to my
That was
inner
good. That
eardrum.
was good.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
good.
okay, I'm Nick.
Woke me up.
Jesus. The Eagles have come to Mount Doom. My God. I hate the fucking Eagles.
I
Big
think
Lebowski.
I peaked in the audio, so.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
There you go.
I'm scared.
You said this last time. You
Did
said
I?
this in last
No,
week's episode. You
I
start
did
with I'm
voices.
scared, and I was like,
No, I did sound effects last time.
no, you said I'm scared, and I'm like, get it?
What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
This is hot. This is like the month of Halloween. This is the month to be scared.
Here's 2 things Diego needs
What
to
is
do.
this noise?
I don't know.
They're taking my insides.
Diego has 2 things he does. He does 2 things. One, he doesn't know how to start, and he doesn't know how to end. He's great in the middle, but he does not know how to start or end.
That's what both of them said.
I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
So what?
All right,
If
I'm
I
gonna
wasn't
take
good in the
charge.
beginning,
That was
I
good.
wouldn't
It
have
was
started
good.
for the last 2 years, and we wouldn't have lost people. And we've actually lost people.
What is
Okay.
he saying? Do you speak Diegoese? You do, right?
I said,
Translate.
if I didn't start for the last year,
Diego, come here,
would
boy.
have lost.
Come here, boy.
What is wrong?
What's he
with,
saying?
What is
What?
wrong with Shifty?
Timmy's
Where-
caught in a well?
And you know, I think what it is. He just watched Pet Cemetery's trailer.
Fuck.
Fucking
in a trailer?
Jesus.
Looks good.
Does.
It's
I don't know that-
Speaking of Pet Cemetery,
Oh, they
and-
could remake every Stephen King movie, and
Then
it'd
I'd be
probably be
okay with it,
incredible because it was so good. Because a lot of those are starting to seem dated. Honestly, a lot of those Stephen King movies.
Yeah.
Remake them all. Great idea. If there's something to
Sure.
remake,
and a lot of them are TV movies.
yeah,
so
don't
they're
remake.
already like
yes,
low budget.
exactly. Don't remake like Stand by Me, obviously. But
They're going to.
Oh, they fucking better not.
How,
But if
how
they
gonna-
do, it
that's
has
such
to
a
be
lo-
like a 4-hour
Yeah,
movie.
that
like
wouldn't be-
part 1 and part 2, or at least.
Yeah, they'll have to
more.
change
For
that
what?
up a
For
lot.
Stand by Me.
The Stand you're talking
The
about.
Stand. You're talking about Stand.
They're gonna remake
Oh
The Stand.
shit, The Stand. Yeah, you're right.
No,
They
they're-
can remake Stand
they
By
should
Me. That's
absol-
okay.
No,
Stand
no,
by
no.
Me, yeah. Stand by Me, they don't have to redo.
No, they shouldn't.
Yeah,
That was a
they
great
shouldn't.
movie, and it's
That's
a
a great
classic.
movie.
Still holds up.
Yeah.
The Stand, they should absolutely
Stand,
make.
yeah.
And
I love that movie.
Ben
when it came
Affleck was
out.
trying to tackle it at one point. Was attached to. They were trying to do something with it, but that should absolutely be done.
Yeah.
They did it. What they did with it was great. They just
Wait
did
till
the kids.
The first one was great. We don't know about the second.
I know, but I'm
I'm
optimistic.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Well, it's on a good road.
Yeah, but that's
So-
a great idea. They should absolutely just remake pretty much all of Stephen King's movies.
That'd be
bar,
great.
Like they don't need obviously Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile. No, obviously.
Yeah. But like the classics.
The Misery, you don't have to
The
do.
Stephen
I
King
want to see
universe.
like
The Shining doesn't need to be redone.
Langoliers.
Yeah, Langoliers,
Tommy Knockers.
Tommy Knockers.
Yeah.
Christine, they could even do.
That movie was
Cujo,
good.
they could do. I know
Dreamcatchers.
they're good
I would like
movies,
to
but
see
I'm saying
Dreamcatchers redone.
Needful Things
I
could
mean,
be
that
redone.
wasn't that long
Well, that's
ago.
why I like.
I like
I like the
Dreamcatcher.
story,
I never read the book.
and I
though.
want to see it redone.
Honestly, some of those
Yeah.
don't really like thinner and stuff like that. That just would be weird to be redoing a movie, or even
That movie was
Christine.
pretty solid.
Yeah, weird solid though. Like it
I think
will
that-
never really elevate beyond kind of B movie ish.
But the miniseries.
Yes.
I think the miniseries they should
Yes.
tackle.
I agree.
Or even just do like a Netflix miniseries. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
Netflix
interesting.
should like scoop that shit up.
Yeah.
Netflix, if you're
How did we
listening.
get into this? What did we say? What did we say? We said they're redoing
Oh, Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery. Yeah, that's what it was. So, anyways, that looks solid.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
that
good.
original
Very
one.
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in freaking years. I don't know if it holds up.
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah. Did he do Children of the Corn? Was that?
That
Stephen
was
King?
Stephen King.
There's like 40
Yeah.
of those.
I think so. The first one, at least. They made like. 10
Aren't the
of them.
children like
There were
adults
a
now?
lot.
Yeah. Huh?
No, they like never aged.
Didn't
Oh my
they
god!
never aged
No,
as
I watched
different
that
kids.
movie with my family or my brother and sister or something, and there's a scene. The main bad guy, the main child psycho dude, is named Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where like when somebody screams his name, and they're like Malachi, and it was just so funny to
just kept
us.
doing
So
it.
like, and yeah, in my family, we always when one of us gets like really angry, we'll be like Malachi.
Do you
doesn't
remember
make any
Village of
sense.
the Damned, by the way? It was
I
a
do
remake.
remember
Yes,
that.
I
They
do.
did the one in the early 90s with Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
It was a remake of an older one. That movie kind of fucked me up.
Yeah.
It was like they were all shitty kids except for like one of them.
Yeah.
Because
And
like
they're all the blonde hair, like pale
white
skin,
hair, white. They were
or
like
white
albino,
hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had that one kid who, like the one he was supposed to be paired off with, his twin or whatever, didn't make it.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be with me, but he was the only good kid. So I guess they were all only
Kid,
pieces
those
of shit
evil kid movies.
when they had like their twins. Yeah. Yeah.
See, this-
The Omen.
They're awful.
You find
Oh,
those
yeah,
films.
The Omen.
The Omen. Damien.
You know what you find? You find those films like on free services like Pluto.
Oh.
Remember I showed you the other day that new app? It's like Pluto, and
A
you
lot
get
of-
free channels and stuff.
Pluto?
They have cool old movies like that
Yeah.
that you don't see like on Netflix or you don't see on
Yeah.
these big Hulu or whatever, but you see it on those, and I love it.
I think some of these movies like either like lost their copyright or something like that. Because I have seen like weird like official releases and then other releases that were like through some other distributor or distribution
Yeah.
company, and I was like, how can this company release the same?
Yeah,
like
that-
Children of the Corn is one of them. Like
really?
I'm like, does somebody own this or is it
Yeah.
just like up for grabs?
And you know what? Part of the problem is why some of these things aren't streaming anywhere or don't even have DVD releases is not necessarily just that the movie itself is in limbo, but
Yeah.
it's sometimes the music that was used in the movie
Oh.
doesn't have clearance to be used in a different format.
That's stupid.
It
Oh, yeah, that's
sucks.
true.
It
Yeah,
totally
that's
sucks.
horrible.
But like, so then now, like, you had a scene that had, like, for instance, this didn't happen, but like in Pretty in Pink, let's say there was that scene with Try a Little Tenderness, Otis Redding. If that song wasn't cleared for that movie, they never would have been able to release it DVD, put it on streaming or whatever. And then what do? They're gonna have to replace out the song, which is a bitch and also
Yeah.
weird, and it just completely throws everything off.
Yeah.
So
The same thing
that
happened.
is
There
part
was-
of the issue.
It was a video game that they came out, I don't know, 2010 or something like that, and it had all these licensed songs. And then the license, I guess, whatever the agreement they had with those songs, like
Like a
was
limited
up, and
time.
they
Yeah.
were forced to stop selling the game.
Crazy.
And I was like, what? They can't sell the game anymore
Crazy.
because it has these songs. in
Dude,
it.
I had the rap karaoke on Xbox, and they stopped supporting it and everything like that because apparently, like, they'd never had any of the license to use all of these
wow.
fucking rap songs and, like, you know, like, It Was a Good Day by, like, Ice Cube and all these major songs. They had the music videos in the game,
Yeah.
and you karaoke'd along with
They
it.
just
And apparently,
took
they
'em.
had no clearance for any of that shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they lost.
Good for
They
them.
made
yeah.
bank and ran.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All
right.
But somehow this ties into our subject for today, which is, hey guys, why aren't monsters cool anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, like specifically, like characters like
Werewolves.
the Dark Universe
Frankenstein.
characters.
Yeah, you have the
Frankensteins.
universal monsters, but you
Yeah.
also have monsters in general. Like monster flicks was a thing. It was a genre in itself
Yeah.
at one point in the 50s.
Yeah.
And the idea of monsters or even things like dinosaurs were
Yeah.
really cool at one point.
Yeah.
If you look at it now, you know, like nobody gives a shit. We're desensitized to it. Right? So if you look at monsters like, okay, if you look at Batman versus Superman at the end of that with Doomsday comes out, this big, huge, hulking monster thing, we're literally like, all right.
Well, I
It's a
don't
big
know. I
fucking
mean,
thing.
you have like you have things like, well, okay, so like Kong Skull Island came out. That's a monster
so
movie.
funny. I was going to mention this. I'm like, that's actually one where somehow in the last few years, out of all the movies I've seen, that one actually stood out. Like the monsters
Yeah.
were the appealing part of that movie.
And that movie is tied into the Godzilla remake that
Right,
came
which was
out
also
with
good.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
And I think there's a new Godzilla coming out.
They're doing a face-off, I think, between the two. They're
Yeah,
bringing them
that's-
into one
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to create like a whole universe
With
with
the
just
moth.
those creatures or something.
Right.
But you also have things like Stranger Things, which has monsters in it.
Yeah.
People are into it.
Don't
they're not, like-
discredit the
they're
whole
not, like,
topic that we're talking
characterized,
about
though.
like immediately, Neil.
No, I mean,
Let it play out a little bit.
Well, I
No,
don't know.
but-
You had like that Mummy movie with Cruise that came out. It made a lot of money overseas, but it kind of
well,
tanked
see,
in the
but that's
US.
the thing, though. It's like that's not. That's more of a blockbuster film. It's
Yeah.
not a monster film.
But that's what we're
And-
talking about, right?
And I
Like,
think
That counts because Mummy was supposed to be the Universal monsters.
Does
Really,
it?
yeah, it's supposed to reboot that whole dark universe, was what they were going to call it, and that's supposed to bring out the Frankensteins, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hydes, the Wolfman. Like that was all supposed to come into that universe.
maybe
I
those
might
are,
have the answer of what happened. You guys might like this one.
I doubt it.
All of those monsters
Yeah.
were put into a teenage flick.
What do you mean?
Well, Monster Squad.
Twilight.
Oh.
They watered down the.
They
Oh, and they put the werewolves in Twilight
They
too.
put
Yeah.
Twilight,
Yeah, like all those underworld movies. There's like 12 of them.
Underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
took
got
all the
watered
all
down.
those
They overdid.
creatures.
The only one that I remember, the only thing
Teen
which
Wolf.
I was
It's a
looking
TV
up,
series on the CW.
Yeah.
I don't watch it.
What about the original Michael J.
the
Fox?
only thing that
That
I
was
was
good.
looking at right now was the show on Netflix, Hemlock Grove.
Yeah.
Is that about
Which-
werewolves?
Yeah, which
I've never
is
watched it.
disgusting. Like
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty
like
gnarly.
pretty gruesome, and but it's still a teenage atmosphere. Go to school and I turned into a werewolf. I can't call my girlfriend right now.
Right.
Type of
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
So
They kind
I
of
think like
hokeyized it.
yeah,
Is that a word?
Hokeyized it.
Hokey eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that became a thing for a while with them, and we haven't seen any really deep stories. I love werewolves. I remember The Howling. That was my
Yeah, The Howling.
jam.
I love Monster Squad. If you
I
watch
remember
the
The
Monster
Howling.
Squad, the characters in that film, especially the makeup and the effects they use, it was all practical and it
Yeah.
looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They had what's his face? I think Stan Winston was involved. Rick Baker were involved. Like this, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think this is what happened. I think CG replaced a lot of the practical stuff because everything prior to the the 90s or whatever was all practical. Look at it. Sorry, not it. Fuck it. Look at The Thing. Right?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
practical.
Yeah.
All practical.
I could watch that movie over and over and over again.
The Howling. I remember when it was a big thing when people learned that they actually did the filming. They showed the part where the hair grew.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, where they were
They
like
did it
pushing
backwards.
through.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
did it
pulled
backwards.
They
They
pulled it in.
pulled
Yeah.
it.
That's
And
cool
reversed
shit.
it, yeah.
That's awesome.
But also, here's the thing, and it's not even that. Well, a couple things. One is obviously it's practical effects, so we relate to practical things more, right? We just do. We can tell when something's real, even on a subconscious level. We know that's real, that's fake, and we could see when the effort is put in. When you got people with their sleeves rolled up and are getting down and dirty. Now, these CG animators are fucking awesome. They're incredible, right? But there's something different about a team of 150, 200 people or more sitting in a room just
For
drawing out
months.
the frames for a live action movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one thing if they're doing a fully animated film, but these are animators now trying to convince that you're watching something live action.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. Lord of the Rings has monster elements in it. There are plenty of creatures and crazy
Jurassic
fucking
Park.
thing. Jurassic Park's incredible. But then you have movies like, and I like Journey to the Center of the Earth. There's this new movie, Rampage. They're fun movies, but we don't really give a shit about the monsters in that way.
Yeah.
Those big, huge creatures, there is a
Yeah.
disconnect where we're just like, it's just a big fucking animated, it's a big drawing.
there's just
It's a big
too much
drawing.
humanity. Like it's a
lack
real
of humanity.
person.
Yeah, it's lack of that, really. I mean, then you can do it right when,
No.
in Planet of the Apes movies that came out. But those are apes. But it's just, there's something off. Like, there's something, like, we just see these big CG characters, and that's what the DC Universe has done with Doomsday and Batman versus Superman. We're just seeing these big drawings. Like, that's all they are. You go back in the day, and you actually had real fucking things. Like, even Jurassic Park used animatronics for some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Up
can tell the
until
difference when
third movie. I think,
when that
is-
thing is coming. Yeah, exactly. When that thing is coming down at the kids with
Yeah.
the glass, with the glass from the Jeep.
Yeah.
That's a fucking animation. That's a real head
Yeah.
doing that shit. And you
Yeah.
go to Universal and you see that thing on the Jurassic Park ride coming towards you, you feel that shit.
Yeah.
But then you go to the King Kong ride at Universal, it's all CG.
They
pretty
do
much
have a live
until
action,
the end,
yeah.
right? Which is cool, and I do like that. But you could tell the difference between a screen, something that's trying to fool you,
Yeah.
and something that's real.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where it split off. Is like they got a little too lazy because they're like, well, it's easier to just draw it than to do practical effects.
Yeah.
That's hard work to make a practical thing look really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where it went off.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Like,
Yeah.
speaking of practical effects, did you guys ever see Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah,
Guillermo del Toro?
Guillermo
Yeah.
del Toro.
Yeah, like all
They're
of
doing
that,
another one.
almost all of that's practical.
Yeah.
I mean, the film came out in like 2008 or something like that.
Well, he
like
even
10
did The
years
Shape of
ago.
Water recently. And
I
that's
haven't
that's
seen that. Is there a lot of practical? Is the main?
It's beautiful.
It's mainly practical. There's a whole
really
floating. There's a whole water scene, which the behind the scenes thing I watched it, and it's like, oh shit, that wasn't in water at all. That literally was just like lights against the background, and they were like brought up to float, and it was crazy. There was no water, but it looked like they were literally like there was this whole sensual scene in water, and there was no water used in the scene. It was all practical effects.
That was a very beautiful film.
But you've seen what the guy looks like in the film, that big fish guy, right?
Yeah.
Which is very similar to what they have in Pan's Labyrinth and all that.
It's the same actor
Same guy,
who,
Doug
who
Jones.
does, he played the fish guy in Hellboy.
Yeah, Hellboy, exactly.
Two, yeah.
And the Pan's Labyrinth.
He did the eyeball hand.
Yeah, exactly. And he
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
has
that's
a
right.
similar.
Yeah.
He's got a
He's
similar.
real thin.
Yes, he is,
Yeah,
and he's got
tall.
the perfect body for that. But you watch Shape of Water, and you're like, this character is just. This is a real guy.
Yeah.
In like costume, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
You know. And anyways, that makes a really, really big difference. And I think that's kind of where we got lost. And then you have other movies, like if you want to just look up straight monsters, like that I, Frankenstein movie. And,
And Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, if we're going to look at Universal Monsters, I, Frankenstein with Aaron Eckhart. Then you had Van Helsing. You had League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I like all of these movies.
I know you like,
except for I, Frankenstein.
But see, that's the thing.
but there's so much CG in those
Yeah.
movies. It's too much.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen had some practical stuff, a decent amount. I think it was a lower budget.
Yeah, that
And
did.
Sean Connery. It's like
But
his
Hellboy
last movie ever.
Hellboy
I
did
know.
pretty
That
good
may have
with
been his last
some
movie.
practical effects also.
Hellboy's incredible.
Oh,
Guillermo
I
del
like
Toro's on
all
another
the
level.
makeup on,
But even-
on what's his name? What's the guy who played Hellboy?
Ron Perlman.
What is it?
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Did you see the poster of the new Hellboy?
Oh yeah, what's
with
his
the big ass
name?
horns?
From,
David Harbour.
Yeah,
Stranger
David Harbour.
Things.
Yeah.
Looks really good. Actually,
Yeah, he looks pretty good.
Looks
yeah.
great. But
I still think it's too soon.
yeah,
for,
Guillermo del
Hellboy.
Toro is the new king of the monsters, right? Guillermo del Toro is the guy who could do that.
know,
Blade
yeah.
2,
He
Blade
got-
2. Those vampires were incredible.
Yeah. Well, he.
Yeah, I just watched
after he
it
did
the other night,
He
yeah.
won an Oscar for Shape of Water. Right?
Yeah, Best Picture.
Best Picture. Oh,
Yeah.
Did it?
And a couple other things. Yeah, I think it won Best Picture. Yeah, it
Oh,
definitely did.
Wow. I should watch the Oscars more.
You should watch that.
But he
Just
he
watch the
got,
movies.
I watch
He
them
won
every year.
this Oscar, and then he said in an interview he got approved to do Mountains of Madness, which is based on this H.P. Lovecraft story.
Oh.
It's riddled with monsters, but I'm like super excited for it because I love H.P.
wow.
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
You guys haven't.
No, we've talked about it.
We've
though.
talked about
We've
it,
talked about it.
Here's the thing. I agree with you. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest factor that we've lost with them was the fear factor, the creepy factor, of
Right.
it too. And this is why I was saying there's the Twilights, what was the movie you just mentioned? Van Helsing,
The Teen Wolf show.
The Teen Wolf. You're talking about
Dylan O'Brien.
Underworld, and all the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've lost the. They've lost the sense of being
Unique.
a
Dangerous
creepy,
and
dark,
creepy.
dangerous. The only one that I remember actually being close to that was recent was with Guillermo del Toro. With what's his name? It was played Wolfman.
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, and again, there was a
there's
lot
a lot
of
of
CG
CG
in that.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of CG, but it was dark. It was kind of.
It was
People,
good.
but
I like
people
the
didn't really
tone.
receive it that well, though.
They did, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. We're talking
Was
about
that
like
Anthony Hopkins was in that?
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins, exactly.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like if you look at these, like people aren't receiving it like they once did. Like
Yeah,
like where
yeah.
monsters like really and it's and again when it's CG it loses what you're saying, that creep factor.
Yeah.
That fear factor. Like look at the first two Alien movies, completely practical aliens,
Yeah.
right? Fucking Jesus Christ. Like those
Yeah.
things like in Predator. You know, like those are monsters. They're aliens, but they're monsters in that way, that gore, that freak out. And when you see them for real, when you start CGing them, it removes that little that fear, that sense of, oh my God, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
So we did you see the new Predator? The Predator?
Predator, yeah, the Predator.
That Predator?
No,
really
not
liked
yet.
it.
Not yet.
I really liked it.
There, I liked it a lot.
liked it a
But
lot.
there is definitely a decent amount of
CG.
CG in it, and you can instantly tell when it's like a guy in costume and
Yeah.
a guy in CG, and it kind of it does it tends to
removes that
take you
other
out
factor.
and- yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being scared
Like-
with the original Predator when I
Yeah.
originally saw it. When I was
Maybe
a kid.
subconsciously you're like, this isn't real when you see the CG, but if it's like a guy in a suit and it looks real, you're like, this, like if somebody came around a corner or I came around a corner and that thing was there, like
Yeah.
I'd freak the fuck out.
You know what I think they should do? I think I would love to see a werewolf in a film like Halloween, and that style, that type of creepiness.
Yeah.
That
Like that
really
slow- the slow burn.
realistic,
Yeah.
slow, like this
on
thing
all
can-
on hind leg, kind
the
of
short-
like skulking through the night.
this thing is
kinda-
coming and you
Yeah.
can't stop it type
Yeah.
of feel. You cannot stop this force.
I'll
and
tell
it's
you
coming.
what, the Thriller music video. right? That was all practical effects. I'm just saying, like that scene where
true.
he's changing,
Yeah.
He was like,
where he's like, come on, it's Michael Jackson turning into a werewolf. You just say that to somebody, they're like, come on, give me a break. I'm like, nah, look at this, son. Watch
It
this
was
shit.
yeah.
Where the hair is growing out. He's like, get away, and he's like spitting up.
Yes.
And you're like,
Oh my gosh, his eye
Jesus.
turns yellow.
Now,
Yeah.
John Landis did that. John Landis did American Werewolf in London. Did you guys ever see that movie?
Yes.
Late
Yeah.
70s?
We've talked about this. I don't
Yeah.
think I saw that one.
We should watch it. It's a cult classic. I love that
Beautiful
movie.
film.
And
it was
again,
redone too, right?
They did American Werewolf in Paris.
American
in
Werewolf
the
in-
90s.
that's right,
yeah, in Paris. But this was American Werewolf in London,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the effects though, like the things they do in that film, you feel them. Again, they feel real. Now, does some of it look like, oh, okay, that might be some animatronics, that might be some of this, that might be some. That's yes, but at the same time, it still looks like it's real.
Yeah.
And there's something to say about that. Like if you were to see a threat in front of you right now that was threatening to kill you, eat you, maim you, and then you were like, I might be hallucinating.
Yeah.
Your fear checks out. You're like, oh, no, I'm not actually scared or as much.
Yeah.
But if you go, this is an absolutely real threat in front of me. I'm fucking scared.
Have
It'll
you
do that.
you guys have not seen the werewolf change, the person change into a werewolf in Hemlock Grove, have you?
No.
And not what?
In Hemlock Grove, the Netflix.
Oh,
series.
Hemlock Grove. No,
Yeah.
no.
That
I
has,
saw it in Twilight, A New Moon. That's
great.
That
so
literally
let's
is the
skip
last time I wanted to see any werewolf. I
I
watched
saw
those
that
in
last one in theaters, and
So-
I was like,
If you like
me
werewolves,
now.
if you like werewolves, you should see just that scene. It's disgusting, but it's realistic.
Yeah.
It's really real. The only thing I disliked about it is the fact that he turned to actually a wolf, not a werewolf after
Oh,
the
like
fact.
half
So it was
man,
like,
half
did
wolf.
you just Twilight me after that whole thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you
that's
kidding
to me,
man?
that's a letdown. If you're like going
Are
to
you kidding me?
transform, like become like a creature, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, do you remember Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle
Oh
Pfeiffer?
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I
100%.
did see
That
that.
movie is so good. I rewatched it. I
Oh.
saw it in theaters when it originally came out. I rewatched that in the last few years, and I was like, holy shit, this movie holds up. Like, Jack Nicholson is fantastic in it. It was
100%,
like
yeah.
at the height of his acting ability,
Yeah.
and he's killing it in that
When he's
role.
running up that swirly stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Because what he does is he's not actually, none of them transform into hardcore werewolves. They just basically get wolfish. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean? Where it's like, there's extra
It's
hair
old
on his
style,
hands
yeah.
and his eyes are fucked up and like there's like extra hair coming out of his face and
It's old style
his teeth are
Wolfman.
sharp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not quite because if you look at old style, was that
He had more
Lon
hair.
Chaney
He had
Jr.?
more hair. He had more.
Yeah, doing that fucking. He like I look like a bush from the '70s, like on a guy's face.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
original.
That's
one.
true. Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, that looked like a dog. Yeah, that guy looked like a dog back in the day. But people
He looked
loved
like
it.
Teen Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Michael J. Fox. Teen
yeah.
Wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox, Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get the impression that like when you hear the term monster, most people probably, their mind might go to at least in part to the Universal monsters. They
Right.
think about Dracula, they think about Frankenstein, they think
Yeah.
about the Wolfman, the Swamp Thing,
Or a big
the
creature,
Mummy.
like maybe
Yeah, or
the
a big
Kraken
creature.
from Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah.
That's probably a big monster too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's an oversaturation. Maybe it's not that they're not cool anymore. It's just that like it's so easy to produce now that
Yeah.
they're like everyone just takes it for granted. The uniqueness of it is gone because I think at the time when those creatures existed, it was like it was a lot of them were based on like classic novels like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein's like
Yeah.
it was like a classic novel at the time.
Right.
So you have and then
Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula. You have these characters that are like
They were based off novels, pretty much.
yeah, you have these like visual representations of these like, things that no one had seen before. And all the films that were being made at the time were probably more, I mean, those films are kind of racy, I guess, for the time.
Yeah.
About, like what happens in them. I don't know. It's just, it's an oversaturation. The industry has gotten better and better at making,
Yes.
better and better
Exactly,
monsters. You
but-
feel like Cloverfield, like there was a giant monster in that.
Yeah. But you don't see it to the end though. That's what's great. They don't overdo it.
I
They
actually
don't
like
beat you.
that.
Love
Yeah.
that movie. Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
really see. You see those little things in the subway. You see little like the tail whipping by and everything like that. But you don't
see
see
the
it.
Statue of
face
Liberty
to
head
face.
fly right in the beginning of the movie, and that was because that creature hit it.
But
or
you don't
whatever.
see it face to face until the very end when what's his face, T.J. Miller, as the camcorder, he's looking up and it is looking right down at him.
Yeah.
Right. That's the first time you really see this thing.
Yeah.
And again, they don't beat you over the head with it, and so that's like if you're gonna go full on CG.
Do it that way.
Do it
yeah.
right. Mix it up with some practical effects. Make it less is more.
Right.
And that's kind of what I think maybe we've gotten away from. It's sort of like, well, we can do it. You never stop to you knew that you could. You never stop to think if you should. Right. Like that's the thing. Yeah, you could fucking do anything with animators and digital artists.
Yeah.
But should you?
Yeah.
Like maybe
Well,
you
see-
should rein it in a little bit.
But in a way, like I
Then
feel
you get Pete's
like
Dragon.
I feel like Marvel's to blame because
Marvel. George Lucas is to blame, probably.
all of these CG
He
characters
finds a way
in
to
CG
route everything.
movies.
Love stories.
As if
I
Marvel's
blame-
only been
I
doing
blame
kinda-
Marvel for
they've
love
kind of
stories.
ruined the entire industry.
They've only been doing movies since 2008.
Yeah,
You're trying
and
to
they've
tell me that-
already ruined Hollywood in 10
Go
years.
look at the early 2000s in terms
But
of
you know-
CG and
but
like
dude,
how they're
dude,
overdoing. That
hold
was like
on.
the worst time period
But think
for
about my
movies.
logic here. You're a producer. You got a bunch of money. You want to invest in a movie.
Yeah.
You're gonna and you look over at Marvel and you're like, God damn, man, that Black Panther just came out, made $1 billion. I want that kind of return on my investment. I'm gonna invest in some shitty movie that's not saying that Black Panther's shitty. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna invest in some Marvel type movie. Like, how many of these spinoffs have you seen? Like these with all the kids, it looks like it's an X-Men movie, but it's like just some story that somebody
special
wrote. and
powers.
Are
it's-
you talking about Dark Phoenix, which is coming out?
No,
No,
not
no,
that
no,
one.
but
No,
the
no.
other one's coming out.
There were like two of them.
Yeah, there's like a movie coming out.
All
That you
these
swear to God,
kids
it's
that
an
are like,
X-Men
yeah,
movie.
there's some-
powers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is this an X-Men movie? No, this is just some
It's like a
spin-off.
Y or a YA book. That's all.
Yeah, it's just
a
like
young
some,
adult novel.
yeah, exactly. And
Dark something. I know what you're talking
Yeah, you know it.
all that kind of stuff. It beats the audience down.
Yeah. And that
I will
that,
say
that's-
Twilight is in the same boat.
Yeah, Twilight's pretty bad. But they've been doing this forever.
Have you read the books?
Twilight?
Why the fuck would
I
I
don't
read
know.
those books?
I feel like a lot of people like it, so there must be something to
I
it.
feel like
haven't
there's a
read the book.
demographic
No,
for it, and I don't fit
Twilight-
into that at all.
That's
There
true.
I've
is
got a
a
beard,
following
Neil.
for Twilight.
I've got a beard.
I also have a beard.
There's a Twilight.
Diego,
the
where's
story.
your beard?
I can't. I'm not. My wife doesn't let me have a beard, man.
Wait, your wife is your beard? What did you just say?
My wife doesn't let me have my
You
beard.
got that right. Neil got it.
See what he just said?
He's just a
Called your
foul-
wife your beard.
He's just.
Is that like a?
I don't understand
Is
how.
that a diss these days to like say insinuate somebody's gay? Is that still acceptable? That's not right.
No, that is not a diss.
It's not a diss. But he's married to a woman, so it means he's a liar. So that's really what the diss was.
The
Not
diss
that
is
he's
the
gay,
yeah.
but that he's a dishonest
He's
piece of shit.
Where the fuck are you guys
he's
going with this? What is?
retracting.
He's retracting and analyzing and trying to bring
a
it back.
beard
in-
is
That's true.
one definition of a beard is when you have either a man or a woman on your arm that's really just there to prove to everybody you're heterosexual when you're really secretly gay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was.
Oh, that was the joke.
That was the
he
joke
made
that I had to
when he
So
explain.
said-
joke just flew
Yeah.
right over me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get that. I don't.
Subculture.
I mean, it's interesting
subculture.
that you guys really like analyzed it and know this shit. That's pretty cool, Nick.
Yeah.
But we'll just keep moving
All
forward
right,
without
let's
the beard.
move on.
Let's move forward.
This is a total derailment.
Why are we talking about beards? Oh, so if you have a beard, you don't like Twilight?
Well, yeah, you were saying you like. Have you read the books? Have you read the books?
No.
Twilight book. Okay, so you said it like you had read the books. You were like, "Have you read the books?"
I don't know. I felt like there's probably a fan out there
I
that's
would
like,
100%
can't believe
tell
they
you-
don't like Twilight.
I didn't read the books, but I watched all the films.
I
watched all of them?
I watched
I
the
watched
first two and part of the third, and I was like, I'm out.
I mean, I
I
can
think I
see
watched
the story.
2 and the last one.
The storyline.
Part 2.
I read the
is
Hunger
really
Games
good.
books.
The storyline is
Yeah, I
really
heard the
good
Hunger- they were
for
good.
that type of following. It really is a good storyline. Now, I watched it respecting the fact that okay, this is a teen film. It's made for teens.
We got vampires
That's right.
and werewolves, and I'm sure they threw something else in there that I didn't
yeah,
see. 'cause
so-
I didn't see them all.
Like
Frankenstein was
teeth
in there
their vagina
somewhere.
or something. Yeah.
Odo.
Oh shit! You're right. Yeah, Teeth.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen Teeth, go see it. It's a good movie.
That's the
Just
worst
Search
vamp-
for Teeth. It's now on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it?
Watch it, but don't blame me if it ruins your life. All right.
Vagina teeth. That's all I'm gonna say.
Vagina dentata. Okay.
Hey, we went from beards to vagina teeth.
Okay.
This is exciting.
Have you seen this movie?
Yes, I've seen this
Oh,
movie.
It's
All
like
right.
a satire. It's not like a serious horror movie.
No,
But it's
it'll
a
mess
it's
Do
a
you guys
satire.
remember the Robert De Niro Frankenstein movie? Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in the early 90s where he played Frankenstein's monster?
Wasn't Michelle
And,
Pfeiffer in that?
You're talking about the one with
Early
Julia
90s.
Roberts?
No, that's
Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, Michelle Pfeiffer's not in that. The one you're talking about is Mary Shelley.
Yeah, which one?
I'm sorry, Mary Riley. You're talking about the Mary
Mary,
Riley.
it's called Mary Riley.
Yes, it's called Mary Riley, and it's and John Malkovich plays Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and she's a maid in his house.
Wait, what's
That's
the
what Mary
one where
Riley
Robert
is.
De Niro plays Frankenstein?
That's what I just said. Mary
Oh,
Shelley's
then yeah, I have
Frankenstein.
seen that. I have seen that. Yeah. I didn't know that Robert Downey Jr. was in it. I must have blanked him out.
Did I say Robert Downey Jr.?
You did.
Please don't tell me I said that. I
Did-
need.
what did you-
No,
what
you
were
didn't. No, he
saying?
said
Robert
he
De
said-
Niro.
He said Robert De Niro.
Did he say Robert De
And
Niro?
you heard Robert Downey Jr.?
I heard Robert Downey Jr.
Only the people who are listening to this can rewind it and see what. Because I
No,
don't know.
no, you said Robert De
I did
Niro.
say Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
so
you
you
did.
heard Robert Downey Jr. Because then,
Oh,
then a
wow.
minute later you were like, "Wait, what was the Frankenstein movie with Robert De Niro?" I was like, "I just fucking said that."
I sound like a crazy person.
I feel like I'm saying
I
crazy
blame
pills.
Twilight.
Okay.
It's
Robert De
Twilight's
Niro,
fault.
the Mary Shelley, and I think what's his face? Victor Frankenstein. Was it what's from Dead Again? Was he in?
Oh, Kenneth Branagh.
Was Kenneth Branagh in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? Did he play Victor Frankenstein? He did, didn't he?
What's his name?
Kenneth Branagh.
I know he was
I just
connected
had
to
it.
one of those.
I think
one
he
of
was
those
in.
movies.
Wasn't he Victor Frankenstein in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? I liked. I remember.
Yeah, he was.
He was right. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
played
was.
Victor Frankenstein. Robert De Niro played the monster, and again, that was a very practical film. It was early '90s.
Yeah.
Early '90s had a couple of those, like
Right,
that
and
one.
he was kind of crazy though. Frankenstein was like
all
New York
stitched up.
crazy.
Yeah, he's New York crazy. He was Taxi Driver, Mean Streets De Niro crazy.
But he's like Frankenstein.
But he's
yeah.
Frankenstein. He's Frankenstein's monster. But they had Frankenstein around that time period. Then they had Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula with Gary Oldman as fucking Dracula. That movie's
Monica
shit crazy.
Bellucci,
Monica Bellucci,
Keanu Reeves,
Winona Ryder.
Ryder.
That movie is fucking shit crazy. It's so
Yeah.
batshit crazy.
It's good
But it's
though.
so good.
It is
That's
really good.
I can't
yeah.
ever forget that scene where he cuts his own tongue to drink his blood, just to like fucking satiate himself to get through that talk with what's his face. That movie's crazy. Francis Ford Coppola, fucking nut job. They also had Mary Riley at the time, so they had all these Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Frankenstein, Dracula movies in the early '90s. It's kind of like the revival of that, and I think all those
I think
movies
they did
worked.
it like they've done it like every other decade.
The one with
or
Tom
something.
Cruise?
yeah, that's
What-
true.
what-
That's true.
What was?
The Mummy.
No, the one with Tom.
Oh,
Cruise.
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah.
a great one. That
Yeah.
was incredible.
Yeah. Did you ever see Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde?
No.
You never saw that? I saw that too many times. I saw it. It came out like '94.
Is it a movie?
Yeah, Dr.
Oh.
Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, and it's the guy from what's his name? Tim Conway, guy from Wings. Remember that show Wings?
Yeah, I remember the show. Yeah.
Main guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been in all those Stephen King like film adaptations.
Yeah, he's been in some of those, and then he was also in. He does the voice for Superman or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's him. He
Okay.
played Dr. Jekyll, and he finds out it's sort of like the young Frankenstein thing. He finds out he's a descendant of Dr. Jekyll or something like that.
Yeah.
From like generations earlier or whatever, or he knows it. And he finds
It's like a
his book.
straight to video movie.
Yeah.
No. It came out in theaters, and he finds like the book of like all his scientific experiments or whatever, and so he decides to do it. And he releases Mrs. Hyde, so he becomes a woman when he changes. And she's
Oh,
like this
I know what
crazy
you're
woman.
talking
I want
about,
to say it's
yeah.
Sean Young
Is
plays
he
Mrs.
the same?
Hyde. I
Oh,
need
so
somebody
he
to look
actually
this
another
up.
actress played.
Yes.
Okay.
I got it.
And there's like literally a scene where he's seducing his boss as Mrs. Hyde in a hotel room, and then all of a sudden he rips open his shirt and his tits shrink because he's turning back into Dr. Jekyll.
Wow.
And so he has to run to the bathroom, and then he turns into himself, and he's sitting there with a lipstick and earrings on, and he has to climb out this New York City fucking apartment building out the bathroom window.
I need to see
It's
this movie. I've never heard of it.
Crazy fucking movie. It's completely nuts.
Yeah.
It's a comedy. you
I
know?
was
Yeah,
gonna
Sean
say-
Young, Tim Daly.
Yeah, Tim Daly. Was I saying
Tim
Tim
Daly,
Conway?
yeah.
West. Yeah, Tim Daly.
Harvey Fierstein. I love them.
Yeah, Harvey Fierstein's in that. Oh,
Come on,
dear,
I
this is
just-
Doubtfire.
you know I like it.
And Independence
Oh
Day.
yeah,
Independence Day.
Yeah.
He's like, I need you to make me into a woman.
Jeremy Piven.
Oh, I'm so happy. Jeremy Piven's in it. But one of the guys is the guy from
Stephen Tobolowsky?
Silicon Valley. Remember the bald guy with glasses? Needle nose
Stephen
Ned
Tobolowsky.
from Groundhog. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, that's it.
Oh,
Tobolowsky or whatever.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a needle nose Ned from Groundhog Day. He
Yeah.
plays the boss who's about to have sex with him when he changes back into Dr. Jekyll. I can't believe you never heard of this movie. I can't believe I've never
This
mentioned
is like
this movie
that
until
Christmas
now.
movie with Nicolas Cage. I never heard of.
Yeah, Trapped in Paradise.
Never heard of it. Never didn't even know it existed.
We've been turning each other on to our childhood fucking movies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's true. I was gonna say there is a show on Netflix or Amazon, I can't remember, with Sean Bean called The Frankenstein Chronicles. Looks
Yeah, I
really
know
good.
Yeah, Sean Bean, does he play?
I'm not sure who his character is,
Victor.
but I just watched a trailer. But it does look really good. It's a show.
I started
so there's
watching
like
it.
10, 20 episodes or
It's
something.
really interesting, but it's not. I want to see the creep factor. I want to see, like, you see Halloween,
The horror.
how it's coming out.
horror.
I want to feel like there's an unstoppable werewolf coming towards me. I want to feel that creepiness.
He wants to feel like if you could feel it in
Or,
a slasher flick. He wants to you merge the monster flicks with the slasher
Like-
flick. What they're able to do with like this new
Yeah,
Halloween
dude,
looks
exactly.
This
freaky as
TV
shit.
show, which you haven't watched, which Diego's watched, The Terror,
Yeah.
does that.
Is it?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
show is
That's
like
what it needs.
leaves you like you are just like every episode ends and you have to watch the next episode and you're just like on the edge of your seat the whole time because all this crazy shit happens.
And it's done by Ridley Scott. And think
yeah,
about
they like
if you
never
take-
show the creature.
Yeah,
like,
think
they
about
never
if you did
show
that
it.
with like these creatures.
Yeah.
Think about how powerful that would be. How you would feel the creepiness of. I mean, just feeling like they start off the scene like you've seen the trailer of Halloween. You've seen him just walk into the person's backyard, grabbing the fucking hammer. And
God, I want to watch that.
It's just.
I
it's
don't
just
want to watch
crazy.
any.
No, I want
I
to see it
saw.
in theaters. I
Crazy.
want to see it.
I know.
But
I want to
think
see
about
it in
it.
theaters.
If you just see a scene like that and you hear like claws and it's just. And you see like the side of the building, like him clawing the side of the house, and it's just going in the. There's things like that makes that creep factor of a werewolf, and I don't know. And
You know what it is? It just occurred to me. I wonder if it has something to do with the editing style. Because I've seen some horror movies
yeah,
that are
that's a
like
good point.
so many quick cuts. It's like,
They're
yeah,
almost
I see
action
gory
films.
things, but I'm like, I'm not scared. But then you watch something with like
That's
a
a really
long
good
cut.
point. Yeah.
Like a Halloween movie where and I don't know if it was long because they didn't
the
have
music.
a lot of film or whatever.
You
But
guys
like,
just-
like these long drawn out scenes where like something's gonna happen and it hasn't happened yet, but you're still following the character. Like to me, that's scary. But if it's like cut,
Yeah, they're
like,
almost
yeah,
more
just in
action
the-
films. They're almost more action,
Yeah.
trying to like jump out at you, kind of, as
Yeah.
opposed to the slow burn kind of creep factor of the sliding, through the night editing, long.
It
drawn
makes
out
a
thing
huge
with the
difference.
music,
And these
with the
CG
simple
movies
music.
there's so many cuts.
I totally agree. They're actually editing them like action films as
Yeah.
opposed to editing them like slasher. I'm going to say slasher flicks because those are the ones that do it best, I think,
Yeah.
in terms of the editing that
Yeah.
scares the shit out of you. Going back to those early 90s films, specifically Mary Riley, I haven't watched that in a really long time, but I remember being scared shitless of that fucking film.
Yeah.
I thought they did kind of that kind of stuff with that film when she's walking through the dark alley in the mist and you hear Mary Riley. And she looks around, there's nobody there, and then she goes clip, clop, clop, and she's walking through the cobblestone streets,
Yeah.
and you don't know if he's following her or not. Or that scene where she sees him in his lab turn into Mr. Hyde, and she runs, she hides under that thing, and then you hear him walking, like he's chasing her, and then he walks,
Yeah.
and he stops right above her.
I can't remember what the last movie I saw was that like really scared me. God, like I've
Been a
watched
while,
and
huh?
I've watched a lot of like horror movies
Yeah.
or whatever, but I can't. You know,
Yeah.
I remember. I mean, there are movies that disturbed me a little bit. Was that witch movie with the chick from
yeah,
Split?
that was
Yeah,
that
disturbing
was
is
actually-
totally different
that was
from
disturbing.
scaring, though.
That
It's
was
different.
disturbing.
I was like, this
Unsettled.
is like,
Unsettled
yeah,
is
I'm
different than
disturbed.
scared.
Because
Yeah.
there's
I gotta
some
say-
disturbing shit in that movie, but it's like
it-
not the same as being like scared.
It had one or two scenes. I was like, okay, I could see how that's scary, but I wasn't really like.
Oh, it?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I was like,
It was so good.
I was watching that movie like it was Stand By Me.
Yeah,
as far as I'm
I know.
concerned. Like,
Stranger
yeah,
Things, Stand By Me.
yeah,
like
little.
yeah.
What's the little kid's name? Bobby or Timmy or whatever. We get.
Which one?
In the beginning.
gazebos?
The one that goes missing.
Yeah,
In It?
yeah. They're searching for him. Timmy or
yeah,
Joey
yeah,
or something.
Shit.
Penny?
Georgie
Boy. Yeah,
boy.
that scene was disturbing.
They fucking
Like-
went out there.
Because
with
I
that
remember
one.
like watching the TV show, and I was like, "Oh, he's just gonna like yank him under." No, he literally bites
Bites
this
his arm
kid in
off.
it.
Well, he takes off his arm in the original too, but it looks ridiculous.
Does he? I have to rewatch it.
No, but this new one they show him bite the arm. The other one, it's like he's going with his teeth, and all of a sudden you see his like fake little arm on the ground. This
Oh,
one,
okay.
his mouth goes, and he takes his fucking arm, rips it off. The kid's like, there's blood splurting everywhere.
yeah.
They're like, this is fucked up. I'm watching this little like 6-year-old, 5-year-old kid. His arm fucking. That was a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
scene.
disturbed me.
But that whole movie had it was offset by the humor and the great.
It was like it was
scenes.
hard. It's hard.
It was like
There's
a
scary
PG-13.
stuff,
I think the scariest quote unquote part of that was like the scene, the jump. The scariest jump of that movie is when they're in the bathroom, they turn, and he's right above the.
But that scene, I
said
remember
it was
that,
in the
and
trailer?
everyone in the theater jumped when I saw it
Yeah.
with you guys, and then like, but I remember that scene from the trailer, so
I don't
I
remember that at
knew
all.
it was going to happen.
That's funny,
Like,
I don't remember it.
I was watching the movie, and then I was like, oh, I remember. Oh, this is the trailer, and then it was like the camera turns.
You
But
could
to me,
always
those are
tell,
the best
though.
jump scares
Yeah.
when you have one person in focus, and then it like turns behind them or to their
Yeah.
side or something, and there's something.
Yes,
there.
Paranormal Activity, I think, was one of the ones that built up. There's only one or two really scary parts of any of those movies.
Which ones?
The
That's
Paranormal
the
Activity
last
movies.
10
yeah.
minutes
It's
of
like,
the film.
it's-
Do you remember?
yeah,
Literally,
they're all boring as shit.
But
and then
literally,
the last like
but
2
that's what
minutes or
fucks you
something.
up with that one.
Yeah.
It's that slow burn. It's that like you literally are
Blair Witch
anticipating
Project.
something at every moment.
Yeah.
I think Blair Witch had a little bit more than Paranormal Activity.
No. Blair
Felt like
Witch was.
it.
I remember watching
No,
it in theaters,
Blair
and I
Witch-
was like, I can't believe I paid money for this. And then it got to that like last scene, and that last scene, like for some reason, like just disturbed me
Yeah.
so much that I was like, holy shit, that was crazy.
Right. Do you remember that Paranormal? Do you remember
Yeah,
Paranormal
and-
Activity, the second one? Again, it's like you don't know what's going on. You think, okay, it gets to nighttime. So like maybe something will happen now when they're sleeping, and then all of a sudden nothing
I haven't
happens.
watched it.
Oh, you never seen Paranormal?
I saw the
Activity?
first one.
Oh, you didn't see 2 or 3?
I just was never. I'm not into the like. I don't know. To me, those movies are boring.
Oh no, they're good. Those first 3 are actually really good. But the
You know what I
second
like?
one, there's a scene
Yeah.
where save that thought, where they're in the kitchen. She's in the kitchen, just like eating cereal by herself, and you're like, nothing's been happening. Nothing's been happening. Nothing's been happening. She's just eating cereal,
It's that
and all of a
slow burn.
sudden, boom! Like every cabinet fucking door busts open at the same time. Everything fucking flies out, and it's just one boom, and it's. Fuck you guys. Like, fuck you forever and ever.
You're just like,
with the largest dick you could possibly
Yeah,
fit
you
inside
got
your body.
bored, and then they
Yes!
took advantage of you.
I know. I was like checking my stocks.
But they did
I
that
was
on
chilling
purpose.
out, and then they just hit me with every the
Jump
loudest
scare.
sound and the loudest bang, and she freaks out. It's just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it would do things like that, and I'm like, that's the best thing when you got you kind of like resting on your haunches, you're kind of resting a little bit, and then they hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's have you guys seen the Insidious movies?
Yeah.
There's like 4 of them.
I have
now,
not
think.
seen any of them. No.
I heard
Oh,
the new film Nun was actually
Yeah.
really creepy.
Oh, which is a
Yeah.
spin-off of that, right?
Yeah,
That's
well, it's
that's a
Conjuring,
spin-off of the
Conjuring,
Conjuring.
Conjuring,
yeah.
spin-off
that's
of
right,
Conjuring.
that's right.
And then
I heard
Annabelle's
it's
another
really,
spin-off.
really
We're definitely
really
away
good.
from monsters, by the way, right now.
We are.
I mean, they're kind of monsters.
Yeah, I mean, they're not.
The Nun
really.
is a monster.
Yeah, the Nun looks like monstrous.
Well,
it's more demons.
there's a scene in Insidious. Yeah, there's like a
Paranormal Activity
there's
is
this demon.
ghost. Insidious is.
What makes Insidious and I think The Conjuring work is that a lot of what you're saying, almost all of what you're saying, is practical.
That's the
like
thing.
practical shit is going on. Same thing with Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
But like, there's a scene in the first Insidious that's like, for some reason, it still sticks with me today. The camera, they're doing like some seance and like whatever, and they're trying to find out what's going on. There's like this red devil.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a red devil is like following, I think, the son or something like that, the kid or whatever. Anyway, and they're sitting at a table, and the camera is focused on this one chick, and then the camera cuts to this other chick, and then it cuts back to the first chick, and then it cuts back to the other chick, and there's this dude, full on like red devil dude, like just standing behind her, like making this creepy face, and it's just a guy in
Yeah.
makeup and a costume or whatever the
But
fuck.
the editing,
But
the,
like
the
that cut back,
cinematography-
like you're just like whoa, like it
Yeah.
totally because you just don't expect to see that, and
Yeah.
it's there, and then the chick who's like has whatever she's like doing the seance can see it, but the other chick can't see it.
Yeah.
And she starts
Yeah.
screaming,
See, I want
and
to
you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
see. I want
Like,
to
that
see
scared
stuff
me.
like that. I want to see like this scene where, whatever, the guy is having dinner, and he can't control himself, turn into a werewolf, and he goes psycho and grabs whatever and just starts mauling people.
Yeah.
Because he can't control his turn.
Right.
And it becomes really this sadistic psycho guy. And like people think this guy just went crazy to kill his family or whatever. He just went psycho. It wasn't. There was something behind it, which was this guy has turned into a werewolf. And it's just, it becomes this realistic feel to the story where something... There's actually a myth, almost like Blair Witch. There's a myth behind this. There's
Yeah.
something going on.
I would love to see like somebody to go back to like the roots of these like universal monsters and like just do something like grounded.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
don't Because
after
watching The Mummy,
turning more in that direction, which is exciting.
I was getting excited for the Dark Universe, and then I watched The Mummy, which I don't think is a bad movie, but like the like super CG.
Yes, it was too
like,
much. I agree.
It's like, I don't know if they did something where they did like an actual like no CG. And like all practical effects or minimal CG, all practical effects, and just like something that really creates and like makes you fully understand this character. And then they would just basically have to try not to make like a summer blockbuster type movie.
Yeah.
Like they just have to make something like super
they have
grounded,
to commit
almost
to the
indie.
fact that that's what they're doing. Yeah,
I would love that. Like if they did that with the werewolf or like the Wolfman, that would be fucking amazing. It would be like a guy, he gets bit by something, and then he wakes up, and then all of a sudden the full moon, and just like that slow burn.
It's as simple as this. If a werewolf were to come out, if that was a real thing today, if Neil, Diego, myself, whatever, turned into a werewolf in this fucking room, what would it look like?
Yeah.
Just do that.
I would look
with
badass.
I don't know about
I would look so badass.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't know.
But what would that look
My
like?
howl would be just shit.
and then just fucking work your angles and your lighting and everything around and your editing around that. All right,
that's
dude.
brown.
Jesus. Anyways,
that's true.
Like that's
what I want. I want something more grounded and like less. You know what it is? It's like they've taken these monsters, and I hate to say this, and it's because we're old, but like they're appealing to like younger audiences.
Feels
with
like
these
that.
like
though
CG
younger
films.
audiences are starting to realize they listen to the internet too, and there's enough ragging on this kind of stuff that it does start to shift it. You know what I mean? People start to get on the hate bandwagon.
I actually
that kind
think
of stuff.
that
So I feel like there's more unique, risk-taking indie filmmakers that are coming and starting to shift studio films.
Yeah. I think
I feel like it's starting to go in our favor.
I do think a lot of our younger viewers have been more educated, and our films have gone more, because you do have your Marvel films, but there is a lot. There's been a lot of push towards that realistic films. There's been a lot of those indie films, indie feeling films that have done really well within all ages. You're talking about Room. You talk about think about Leatherface. That the one with Jessica Biel. I know I went back a little bit on that one, but that was super popular within all ages. I want to see something like that with a fucking werewolf there.
Yeah,
that would be sadistic.
Yeah,
but how do you keep it real?
I mean, I think I don't know if we're gonna see it in like
is Frankenstein really a nice guy? Nah. Dude's a fucking monster.
He's misunderstood.
He's not misunderstood.
He is misunderstood. That is the whole point of it. He's misunderstood.
But I feel like what we want, we're probably gonna find on something like Netflix, like a Netflix, funded,
Remind me to show
miniseries
you
or some shit like Hemlock or
remind me to
Frankenstein
show you
Chronicles or whatever.
the video of them changing Hemlock. You'll understand what I see. I mean that was like crazy, and there's a lot of it. It's practical. It's crazy. And it works.
I mean, we do have Stranger Things season 3.
So and that's been. Doing
I'm
a good
excited
job.
for that.
And there's CG in that, but they also
it's well done.
It's really well done. They have a lot of practical effects, and also here's the real. Like, if you really think about Jurassic Park, Stranger Things, the CG looks best at night.
Yes,
it just
you barely see it. It blends in so well.
It blends in so well, and it's like that's what you just have to be aware of that and be like, if your digital artist, the fucking company you're hiring isn't good enough to make it look good in broad daylight. Fucking you rewrite the script or whatever and you keep it at night. I don't know what to say.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Just real quick, somebody asked me, did you see Saw? The movie.
Did you see Saw?
Did you see Saw?
Have I seen Saw?
Just say, did you see Saw? Have you seen, okay.
Is that a joke? Did you see Saw?
I don't know where this is going.
In The Office. Do you remember this in The Office? He goes, did you see Saw? He goes, yeah, Mose and I see Saw all the time.
Right? No, I don't. I mean, I get the joke, but...
All right. I just wanted somebody to say it, but it's not going to organically happen, and I wanted to, play
I thought you were telling me, you had just seen Saw.
There was no way to basically inorganically just shove that into this
You did good. You did good.
It was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. All right.
That's okay.
Well, I hope in my lifetime I get
time.
to see that sadistic and that crazy werewolf, because I love werewolf stories. I love Frankenstein.
I'm sure we'll get it.
I want to see a Frankenstein that doesn't understand his true strength and just literally just doesn't know who he is, and just you see that guy just breaking people because he doesn't know him self.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting.
He needs to learn to masturbate is what he needs.
Maybe he doesn't have a dick.
Yeah,
a
it
wolf.
wasn't
Wolf-sized
stitched
dick.
on.
I thought we were talking about Frankenstein.
I thought we were talking about Frankenstein. Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about werewolves. He's been bringing up werewolves like nonstop for 30
I did.
minutes. I just assumed he was still talking about werewolves.
I
No,
said
he switched to Frankenstein.
I'm sorry.
This guy checked out. He heard werewolf. He's like, oh, Diego with the werewolves.
Maybe that's why Frankenstein's so pissed off, though. They didn't give him a pecker.
That could be it. Somebody needs to make a
Somebody
movie
needs
about
to
that.
hit that angle.
Somebody
No.
said
That dangle angle.
Just put bolts on
True.
the side of his neck. He'll forget about what's down
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Whatever. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
It's alive! It's alive!
That is awful.
That is a really terrible sound.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.